Hi, Dr. Sujatha. Thank you so much for joining us on Expeditionary Mindset. It's really an honor to speak with you. And the subject today, especially as we come up on World Heritage Day, is Ayurveda and how it intersects with other types of traditional knowledge. So as somebody who has this incredibly unique perspective as an Ayurvedic doctor, who is now practicing in Indonesia, living in Bali, and has been there for 17 years, I just learned. To get us started, I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, and also from your perspective, what is Jamu and what are its connections to Ayurveda?
Okay. Thank you, Roshni, for inviting me today. And I love talking about Ayurveda. So if it is useful to people to hear more about Ayurveda and find the connection between Jamu and Ayurveda, this is my joy to do that. I've been in Indonesia for 17 years. I actually came for work to set up a health retreat. I always enjoyed working with plants and helping people. So that was my passion. And then I quit the job together with my husband. We started a really, really tiny place back then, which is now grown into a center which has got the capacity to have 25 people at a time going through the healing process, staying with us and following Ayurvedic medicine to cure any simple ailments of cold, flu to, I work with people who have cancer, arthritis, post-surgical care, they need palliative care, all those things. And I think it fell into a right place coming to Bali, coming from India. I grew up in India, but before coming to Bali, I was living in UK. And I moved here. The vegetation, people's attitude, they're very similar. And it reminds me of Kerala with rice fields and coconut trees and stuff. So I felt home from the beginning. It was never for me. I had a trouble to adjust to the culture or the people, and able to recognize all the plants that I would need and seen in India that's medicinal. So I never had a thought to say, it's difficult to practice medicine here. And with the support of my husband, we made it, and we have a very successful clinic which takes through lots of people in their healing journey. First time I came into the understanding of Jamu was drinking this yellow liquid given to one of my colleague from the early morning from the market. I could figure out the taste in it, and then I started looking more into it, and I found this is a traditional way people use this liquid more like a maintaining health. So it's used in the medicinal form as well. Like nowadays, you can find Jamu concentrated in powder forms or tablets and capsules and stuff that you can buy in small shops. I think the difference is, as I've studied a few other folk medicines in different countries, even within India, we have Ayurveda, but we have the folk medicine system too. I think every village or ethnic background, they have their own way of using the local herbs, and they have the knowledge of that, and elderly people using to help people with ailments and sickness and stuff, because hospitals are far away to reach, and before that they start the primary healthcare in their home, knowing these plants and stuff. So in Indonesia, it's there, but I find that it's the original registration of these traditional Jamu goes back to like 1,300 years ago. So mainly the herbs, like a huge variety of herbs, like different kinds of turmeric species, different type of ginger species, few leaves, few fruits, which are all registered as an Ayurvedic medicine. So I would say Jamu system is more a culinary, a folk medicine trend people use on a daily basis to keep themselves healthy. And it's drunk more on a easy daily on a drink basis, which is sometimes like a fresh drink, sold by a lot of women and in front of the small shops and early morning markets, you can see them. And when it comes to using that as a specific diseases, I think there lacks a little bit of a knowledge and awareness around it. I think that's when these things become medicine. I think the link between Jamu and Ayurveda is Jamu is an extension of Ayurveda in the form of your drink, of daily life, maintenance care, which is also a primary intention of Ayurveda. Ayurveda educates and puts more intention on prevention. You don't want to get sick in order to go and see a doctor or think about your health. So you want to take the prevention method, and Jamu plays a big role in this prevention care. Depending on the different seasons, depending on morning time, evening time, there are different Jamus are made for that. And also different kinds of herbs used in Jamu. If you're using it to strengthen your system, if you're using it for the cold, if you're using it for menstrual pain, if you're using it for like a sexual energy, virility. So there's a whole section in that way too, how Jamu is used as a part of the food, dietary thing. And another aspect of the Jamu is lots of treatments are used like a bore. So there's another way. So bringing this medicinal quality through different poultices, dry scrubs, application of paste. These are the things also practiced in the Jamu system. So for me, it's very similar to Ayurveda, but it's not in depth. That's the only thing I can say from being in Bali for 17 years and what I've seen.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Given that you've been steeped in multiple cultures, have you seen other commonalities or other common threads between Ayurveda and what you've experienced or had exposure to in Bali or in Indonesia more broadly?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. See, it's not only in Indonesia, any traditional medicine or ethnic medicine, if you look into, because it's a part of life. It's connecting to the nature and observing what's happening in the nature and adapting ourselves to blend with the nature. It's not other way around. So it's like, the nature is as it is. That's how it should be. And we are the one we need to adjust to find a good balance. And that balance is resulted as a form of health and well-being. So one common concept that I see in Ayurveda and Jamu system is the concept of heating and cooling. So which is very common. In Bali, people say, okay, so this is going to increase your heat inside, panas dalam. And then they want to not to do anything, which is kind of, if they have a saryavan, they call, so which is like a mouth ulcer. So this is an indication of increased heat in the body. And then they would do some cooling things, like a different kind of coconut water. Or they have a drink called daluman, which is actually an Ayurvedic herb called pata. So which turns into a gel when you kind of crush the leaves and mix with the water. And then they mix it with palm sugar. It's a very cooling, like a jelly-like drink. So that's to cool down the heat that you may have manifested being in the sun a lot or eating too much of chili, spicy food. Then they have a concept of like it's too dinging. So it's like your body becomes too cold because you ate an ice cream or you got wet in the rain, and then you want to increase the warmth inside the body. That's when they kind of make the jamu with using lots of ginger. Also, they do a bore, like a spice bore, using nutmeg, cinnamon with rice and warm it up, and they vigorously rub on your body, so that heats your body, so just to bring the body from extreme cold that's your body experiencing to bring into the warmth. Also another concept that I've seen in Indonesian culture is a very good concept of masuk angin. This is very similar to the concept of like increased vata in Ayurveda. So that's why it wondered me, people on the motorbike, which is a primary way of transportation, I think in Indonesia and in Bali as well, where people, hot sun, like it could be like a 30, 33 degrees, and they wear a jacket as if they're in the middle of the winter in UK or anywhere else in the world. So they're constantly, because you're on the motorbike and you're moving, and then the wind, you're going against the wind, and this is like the wind is going to enter your muscles and go into your body, and you're going to have masuk angin, which creates symptoms of ache, pain, stiffness in the body. So that's the same concept in Ayurveda. Ayurveda believes, understand vata is the energy which is moving, and when you're subject to move a lot, and then you're influenced by moving object, automatically in your body vata increases. So as a result of vata's increase in your body, you're going to have stiffness, ache, pain, all these things. So in order to combat that, that's why they wear these thick jackets, even though it's a hot weather, so the wind doesn't enter into your body. So that's a way of protection of the wind element in the body. Or the other concept, as I said, like the panas dalam. So that's a heat, cold concept, the concept of the vata. And then there is a concept of increased dampness in the body. So lembab, they say. So if you have too much of dampness, you get pilak or the cold, flu, runny nose, these things. And they also use the concept of not, getting into the water in the nights or not getting wet in the rain, and these kind of concepts. So there are this similarity of understanding them, what's happening in the nature and how we can adopt to surrendering to the nature, not going against it. And also there are principles of even more than Ayurveda. I think it comes from the Vedic period, like the worships, the offerings and sacrifices. All those things are mentioned in the Vedic text. When you read Ayurveda, those things are mentioned, but I feel that they still live here. Even in India, these concepts are not there. In Ayurvedic texts, they say that during the full moon days or the new moon days, offering in a junction and places where the paths meet. So you can see in everyday life, Balinese worshipping that things, respecting, putting off a flower and a little bit of food and teas and stuff for the spirits. So which is another way of Ayurveda that's mentioned and lived in the Vedic period, still alive, and they follow that. Part of healing, part of well-being is not only just eating food and lifestyle, the culture plays a big role. So the cultural extension of Ayurveda can be seen in Balinese people in day-to-day, how they live, and the importance for spirituality, respect, and honoring the time of the nature, which can be seen through all these celebrations and festivities they have.
That's so fascinating. I think so many of us grow up with ideas about heat and cold and what to do and what not to do, and we never really connect it to deeper bodies of knowledge or health. So thank you for putting that perspective on it. It really, for me too, it's really interesting to reflect on the similarities between masuk, angin, and the heating and cooling elements in Ayurveda. As the wellness community around the world turns increasingly to traditional medicine, traditional ways of healing, traditional knowledge to find answers for preventive care and also for treatment, what can people with an interest in wellness do to help preserve this traditional knowledge and these cultural practices?
I think modernization, technicality, electronics, and all those things made us think that the fast pace of life, that we thought like everything is possible. I want more, success, speed, ability to be any places we want. So I think we kind of started pushing ourselves against the nature. Working late nights or, forgetting about the body clock and its connection to the, day and night. I think we kind of did it almost pretty much. I think the COVID made us realize that all those things, what we try to do and get speed up and put ourselves in, invincible and everything is possible. I think that gave us a bit of a reality check to see doesn't matter all those things. One virus or a threat of a virus, we have to drop everything behind. But at the same time, we depend on this modernization and the advancement of technology and all those things. But at the same time, we are suffering, losing control of our own health and wellness, because many diseases, the humankind have found solutions, doctors and scientists have found solutions, but we don't have an ultimate solution for this. It's been like more than 1.5 years. That means I think here, everybody's need to question and look into, okay, where does it and I have to look, and where can I take in charge and looking into? Because the only thing is left is my own immunity, my own energy, my own way of taking care of it, right? The external factors, what we thought, the medical system, everything we rely on. Yes, they are still there. They are still supporting us. But I think we don't have an ultimate answer to turn up our face and to look into the medical system. So here I think we need to really go back into the nature, understanding the nature of my body. That's what Ayurveda is primarily says. Everybody is unique. You have a unique strength of energy that's formed or understood in the way of understanding the dosha or the constitution. And you got to do right thing to take care of that. So that can keep your body healthy and well-being and energy. So then you're much more in a position to tackle any kind of infections and virus comes to you, not only depending on the artificial immunity which comes through the vaccines. So I think now people are more and more, I think veganism, which is something is a trend, I think that's a awareness coming into taking care of your health through the food, even though it's a consciousness decision of not harming any animal to make into food or taking care of ourselves. I think it's a different direction. People are looking into taking care of their health in their hand through what they eat and how they behave and what they do. You know, we had the moment of yoga too, and the meditation trend. So I think it's kind of, you know, pieces and pieces overlapping. I think we need a concept of putting all these things into together, and to understand how those things impact and how they are important to us, and fine tune it based on your need, where you are, what's the season, you know, what's your ethnic background. I think that's what the base and the foundation that Ayurveda is going to give. Ayurveda says that everything what's needed is already there. It's just you need to, you know, take a pin and the thread and sew it together to get into the design that you want to. So I think it's the Jamu system, or the traditional medicine, folk medicine, it's regaining its appreciation and interest in people, going back to the nature. At the same time, we need to stick to the rhythm and the nature of our body, how it functions, respecting the meal time, sleeping time, lifestyle, and also giving attention to our mind and how we use our mind, where do we focus and what do we do with it, which is something in Ayurveda spoken with the concept of sattva, rajas, tamas. If we could all work on getting our mind state into sattvic state, I think everything that what we need and what we need to take care of ourselves and others around us is automatically going to fall on our hand. So main attempt to cultivate the sattvic quality, which is a quality of lightness, purity, clarity, and food influences this. What you put inside your body influences. So either it's in the form of jamu, or the right kind of food you choose, the right kind of activities you do, those going to support in taking care of what's right for us.
I know that your work aims to do some of what you just mentioned, tying together these different aspects of wellness and mental health and preventive care and betterment in multiple ways. Can you tell us how we can find you, how we can learn more about your work and what you do?
Me and my husband together, we run a health center called Amrtasiddhi Ayurvedic Health Center, which is based in Ubud, and in a little village called New Kuning, which is behind the very famous monkey forest. So here I work in both, like inpatients, that means people stay and they go through the healing process, or I work as a GP, that means people who have health issues and they want to find a solution in a natural way. I provide them consultation, take all the history of their well-being, body, mind. So I need to get a good picture of what's been going on, what's the cause that you're not well. So that I'm finding out that, and then I'm going to plan a diet, lifestyle, sometimes medicine, some treatments, whatever is appropriate for that person, what that person is capable of going through at that stage when he comes or she comes and meets me. So this is how the two ways I work. There are processes called panchakarma, there are processes of different treatments, do everything in a natural way to heal. I'm not against any Western medicine because I studied that part as well. So whenever there is an acute illnesses or emergency medicines you need, there's a lot of advantage that we can take from that. But it's not necessary when a disease comes because of a metabolic error inside your body, digestive error inside your body, emotional problems, then you don't need to pop a pill to take care of it. So pill can help you to feel better so that you can start taking care of yourself. But once you reach that stage when you're depressed or anxiety or you have an acute illness, after that you really need to look, because body is not meant to be sick. It has the ability to correct it yourself. And somewhere we fail that correction, auto-correction in getting back in place. So I think I approach in that way, how we can really take care of ourselves and still enjoying and doing everything, but not going against the nature of the mind body, because we all have limitation, we all have strength. So we need to identify that first. And once you identify that through understanding your constitution of your both body and mind, and then you do things that suits and nurtures that, And then we have the freedom to enjoy everything that we want without harming ourselves, without hurting ourselves. And the whole process is not only just the health, physical health, it's also your growth as a human being. You're increasing your awareness and consciousness, which we can start by the body or we can start through the mind. And when we combine them together, it's much more faster.
Wow. Dr. Sujatha Kekada, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today. It's really inspiring to hear about your work, and you've been able to be sort of an ambassador for Ayurveda here in Bali, in Indonesia. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to share. And yeah, if anybody's want to improve on your health and well-being and dive in deep, because Ayurveda is a science of life. It's not just a medical system. So we are here in Ubud, Bali, and Amrtasiddhi is the name of the clinic. So anytime drop us a message, we are here. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks so much.